track of that? When he says, I don't know, total, that's how many minutes we have to go sit in there collectively, okay? So, no, I don't know is Ryan.
Okay.
Like, bring it.
Yeah, I don't know. Try.
At the end, just go, I don't know.
I'll try. I don't know. Cool. A bunch of people here have done the cold dip and polar plunge as it's turned into, and so you guys know the benefits, but we'll talk about that too. And Eric's going to talk about it. Eric, friend from the plunge, and anyway, I don't know. I was a little nervous. I turned around, and Megan says, "Top that." After Mark. So, and luckily I'm not here to top anything. I can't compete with that. Like, Mark's, I mean, he's like a grown-up, and I mean, I just look up to that. I really look up to you, man, and also to your wife, because I look up to wives of folks in addiction and spouses, because I look up to my wife, and I don't know, I guess I'll just talk. I mean, I'm just in a room with my friends. Neil, I wrote a song about you yesterday. Your name was in it, at least. And there's just a bunch of my friends in this room. Like, most of you guys are in groups, and you know me, and you know that I'll just ramble like I do. So I'll just do what I do and just ramble for a minute, and you can piece it together later, and then we'll go in the water, because I need it. Like, I need to go in that water today, not because I want to, but I need, and I'll tell you the reasons why I do it too, but it's like, I need to be slapped a little bit today, and I need, I've had some, like, relatively severe anxiety building up to today, and, my job is to talk to people, and I'm still not very good at it, and it still makes me nervous. So anyway, I guess I'll just tell you a little bit about it's mostly when I talk nowadays, I don't talk too much about not taking drugs anymore. I feel like I spent, I'm 7.5 years clean, and I spent a huge portion of that not doing drugs. And I mean, I'm still not doing drugs, but my point is that was what my energy was doing. I was not doing drugs today. The next day, I'm not doing drugs today either. I'm not doing drugs. I'm not doing drugs. I'm not drinking today. And that was all I did. And it was a lot of misery. And some days are going to just, if you're not doing drugs today, that's great. And some days are going to be miserable just not doing drugs and not drinking or whatever it is that you have issues with. But man, the last year and a half, I've really spent some energy living and trying to fill that cup with, and the byproduct is I don't do drugs and I don't drink. But I'm spending my time and my energy now living and enjoying and trying to be in the moment. And but there's so the story is, I related so much to your stuff, Mark. I had a nice little childhood and grew up with, everything I kind of could want, and up in Centerville, and but I always had this, like, I look at the pictures of me when I was a kid, and almost exclusively, like, everybody's smiling, and I'm like, I just got this nervous look on my face. I'm just this nervous little kid just being nervous. And I remember, when I had my first drink, which was later, I didn't put any chemicals in till I was 19. And I'm 62 now, for a reference point. And so when I was 19, though, me and my buddy split a bottle of vodka because we thought that's how much you should drink. So we shared half each, and he was over here puking in the corner, and I was like conscious. I remember saying, like, I'm going to do this every day because I feel whole. Like, it fixed me. All that nervousness, like, was gone. I was out chatting it up with the neighbor moms out on the street, and like doing, I remember it was snowing and we were like sliding on our faces down in people's front yards, and but I felt whole. That was the thing. I felt like a piece of me that had always been missing throughout my whole childhood I was like complete. And it did that for a long time until it didn't do it anymore. And it was, I mean, alcohol was always there. And then once, opiates got involved, then it was 16 years and a lot of terribleness that I could tell you about with, I mean, there's just too much terribleness. There was, at one point I was a CNA, and there's probably legal ramifications for this stuff, but we're not filming. I was working at a rest home, and they put me in charge of the med cart, and I did that for a year and a half, and hurt a lot of people, hurt a lot of people that were sick and suffering, but my addiction trumped their pain. And I remember crying, while I would steal their morphine, because it I didn't want to do that stuff. I still had these morals floating around in there, but I didn't want to get sick. And that's, really the opiates and the alcohol it just became about being, it stopped being fun, and it stopped working. For 10 of those 16 years, it wasn't working, but I didn't know any other options. It was like I had diabetes, and I had the insulin, and this was the cure, and then all of a sudden the cure didn't work anymore, and so I didn't know what to do, and so I just lived a life of terribleness, and kept crossing over the lines. First, I'll never be a drug addict when I'm married, and that came, and we both went to rehabs and got divorced in rehabs, and did all the fun stuff and had rehab relationships, which worked out awesome. And so then I met my current wife, and we, she was, I was always unconsciously looking for somebody to fix me, and she needed a project, and so we got together, and that didn't work. And I thought, as soon as we have a kid, I always wanted kids. If you know me, my kids, I can't even look at your kid, because I'll start to cry thinking about mine, because they're everything. Damn it, dude. Actually, I don't care, man. We watched this Brene Brown thing about vulnerability, and that was my one thing I was going to try to do tonight, is to be vulnerable. And so, on our first kid, I'd had a whole tapered plan. The using heroin to get off. I mean, I tried to use heroin to get off alcohol, but then that didn't work. So I tried to use alcohol to get off heroin, and then I just said I'll just stick with opiates. And so I had a whole taper plan of my pills that I was going to take, and the pregnancy was like a 30-hour horribleness of a pregnancy. And I remember I went into the bathroom while my wife was giving birth, and I just took my whole taper plan, ate the whole thing, and that was all I remember of I remember my baby coming out, and I held her, which was super questionable to even have me in the room. And the doctors knew it, and I was just a menace to the whole situation. And I remember I kept pressing my wife's pain thing for her too, accidentally paralyzed part of her face during it, which was a whole other thing. I was trying to help her. And then that led to, we go home, and I can't detox because she's in bed, incapacitated. I've got to raise this little baby. I changed every diaper for the first 2 weeks, and what that meant was I stole all my wife's pills, and shaved off the Tylenol on the other pills and put those in her thing, and stole from all of our relatives. And a nice little trick I learned: go to church. Just if you're looking for ideas, go to I'd go to church with my folks and see who had like a broken leg in the congregation, and then I'd just slip out of church and go rob them, and which seemed out of my wheelhouse. Like now I'm robbing and breaking and entering, and all these lines that I just never thought I would cross, and cross them all until my wife was done having her lines being crossed. And so 5-month-old, when my first little girl, Rue, was 5 months old, Aaron said, "That's it. Like, we're done having you, nod off when you're holding my little girl." Took little girl, left me. My parents said, "You can't come here anymore." And it, for a minute it got worse. OD'd in the kitchen. I have a faint memory of my mom trying to get me into detox, and me trying to climb the fence in the backyard and not being able to climb the fence and falling back down, and her taking me to detox. I have a faint memory of trying to steal pills out of somebody else in the detox's room, and they weren't the right kind of pills, so I hid them. They're probably still in the ceiling at that detox. I hid them in the ceiling and all sorts of stuff. I went to a rehab, my second rehab at this point, ran away. Luckily, ended up back at the chateau, which is like where like some magic happened, like some like spiritual shit, like it, for me was, 12 steps. Danny up there gave me a book, and they tried to get me to do the 12 steps forever, but Danny did it in a way that was like, these might help you if you want to take a look at them. So I was like, well, if you're not going to tell me to do it, then I'll just take a peek. And I did it by myself, and I had a spiritual awakening up in treatment, alone by myself, in the middle of the night, and I had a spiritual awakening, is all I can say, because I woke up the next day and things were different. Things were, it's that surrender piece. I surrendered. I thought I was an atheist at that point, but I surrendered to something. I didn't even know what it was, and it changed my existence right then. And I'm super grateful for those experiences. And then it just became, recovery has been a trip of like 7.5 years in now. And I just thought that was the deal. Like, you get clean, and then easy going. Like, everything else is going to fall into place once I quit doing drugs and alcohol, which is true for a minute. You stop the destruction. I'm not having any more court stuff coming up anyways, and the wreckage at least has stopped a little bit. But what I found, like year 5, I'd started working in treatment, and went from a tech, and I started a work program just out of necessity that people needed jobs, and so we started this thing. But by the end of year 5, I was suicidal and sober, and not understanding what was going on with. It was supposed to be that I was clean and that everything was cool from then on, but it was. I knew I couldn't do drugs. Like, I've got hardcore anxiety, hardcore depression, suicidal ideation. Drugs don't work. I've already come to that realization at this point. I know that it's not going to work. I know that I can't fix these problems with the chemicals because I tried that for so long. And at this point, I've got 3 little kids, and I had to do something different. And that's really just being open to the idea that I felt like I cracked. I had to do something. And that's when, about 1.5 years ago, I came and started working at I Am Recovery, and people just started coming into my life. And Shay was one of those people that really altered the trajectory of my happiness. Like, it's, we started running at night, and I wasn't raised to do shit. Like, like exercise or eat like healthily, and I started eating a little. I mean, all this, I had no idea that this stuff was all tied in. It's all tied into like my mental health is, the exercise, the eating correctly, the meditation, it's all tied in to maintaining that spiritual awareness, which is where I'm trying to live now, is in that spiritual place, and then really, I mean, one of the big things was this polar plunge has really changed my existence. Shay started doing this, and I heard him talking about it, and I was like, "Don't look at him. I don't want to do that shit." But I felt it calling to me, and I felt like the last year and a half, like I really, like, I don't know. I felt like, when I was suicidal back at year 5, I had no idea what I could even do. I didn't know how to figure it out. And I figured out this last year and a half, and I think this is true for all of us. Like I don't know what you need, I don't know what any of you guys need. But I think you do, and I think that maybe I do. I think I know what I need, maybe, if I can listen to it and connect to it. And so that's all I'm doing these days. Like Neil says something, like I'm drawn to Neil. I'm like drawn to the clients in our program. I'm drawn to you guys. I feel something there. I feel something from you guys, and I'm trying to listen to it. And so when I listen to it, I'm connecting. And so, the same thing with like eating and exercise, the polar plunge, I felt something there. And I felt one of the big answers for me this last year and a half is, I spend so much of my energy just either tripping out about the past or the future, depression in the past, anxiety in the future, that the real key to not just my sobriety, but my happiness in sobriety is the being here now, and that has become a major piece of my recovery right now, is that being here now, like this moment's great. Like I'm just sitting here with a bunch of weirdos, we're about to jump in an ice bucket. This moment's okay. It's when I start tripping out about the fact that all my cars are hanging on by a thread, and is that tax fraud going to come back and bite me in the ass? All that stuff. Are we recording? But when I start, it's all these things in my life that I start tripping out about, the fridge, and I mean, life is life, man. Life is coming at you, and it's not going to stop. There's always going to be stuff, and I can spend, I spent a month last month thinking about how I'm going bald. I put a lot of energy into thinking about the baldness, but what am I going to put my energy into now? I'm trying. I want to live a life of fulfillment and happiness and joy, and I have it all. I go home, man, and if I'm in the now, I got these 3 little kids, man, you should see them. They're insane and super dangerous and and beautiful and perfect, and my wife is too. When I'm in the moment and I'm appreciating what I have, which is what we saw in that Brene Brown video that we watched the other day, was that gratitude, is the answer to shut down some of that doom that I carry around with me. And I've tried that the last couple days. If I'm grateful for the stuff that I have right in this moment, the now is great. I love being in the now, and that's what the water does for me. I don't even associate this with cold. I can see the ice, but I don't associate it with cold anymore. All I associate it with is when I hit that water, I know I'm going to have a consciousness change. I'm going to go into the now, because when you hit the water, you can't not be in the now. You can't, I never think about my taxes in the water. Like, it's, all you can do is think about breathing and just breathing, really, which is, I need to be, if I can take that, and it's not just about that, if I can take that and utilize that in the rest of my life and be in the now. The polar plunge is the exact same thing as throwing a ball back and forth with my son. Like, when I'm throwing that ball, like, and I'm looking at him in the eyes, and he's throwing it back to me, and I'm throwing it to him, and I put my phone down, which is a big piece of it. Like, I'm in the now, and that's the exact same thing that I have when I'm in the water. And when I'm here, like, I'm going to be here right now, like, with you guys. Like, there's good people in this room. Like I love everybody in this room. And so I'm going to be here now. And I'm trying to do that as much as I can in my life because, I'm just not interested anymore in being sober and miserable. Like, it's no way to live if you've done it. Like, and you can do it. Like, you can be sober and miserable and do that. It's totally your call. What do I know? But for me personally, like, I'm gonna live. I'm going. On that Brene Brown thing, it said, let's live in the arena. Is that where you got the name for this thing? Arena Talks.
It is.
Is it?
Exactly where we got it.
I saw that and I was like, I wonder if that's where they got the name, because that's what I want to do. I'm gonna play in the arena. I'm gonna live in the arena, and I'm gonna live my life because dying, it's 100% guaranteed, and it's going to happen. And it could happen tonight. My car is questionable. So it could happen tonight. I could live to 115. That's certainly possible. But I'm going to enjoy the time that I've got. And anyway, I'm just trying to implement it into my everyday. And I don't have it figured out by any means. I'm like, the only reason they have me run groups here is so I can learn shit because I get more out of everybody here. Like, I'm super appreciative, and for Shay and Hazel, and to a lesser degree Chris, and just everybody that's here has been a part of my life to some degree, and I'm just super grateful for you guys and super grateful for my family and kids and everybody else. That's it.